Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
On the day you were born, while you waited in darkness, tiny knees curled to chin, the earth and her creatures with the sun and the moon all moved in their places, each ready to greet you, the very first moment of the very first day you arrived. On the day you were born, the earth turned, the moon pulled, the sun flared, and then with a push you slipped out of the dark quiet, where suddenly you could hear a circle of people singing. Welcome to the spinning world, the people sang, as they washed your new tiny hands, and as they held you close, they whispered into your ear, "We are so glad you've come." In our liturgy we say, Hayom Harat Olam. On this day, the universe was born. Tonight, Rosh HaShanah, we celebrate not only the beginning of a new year, but the beginning of everything, what we would later come to know as the Big Bang. One of my most spiritual experiences happened my sophomore year in college when I took two particular classes, one after another. You may be thinking probably some Jewish studies classes or philosophy classes, but actually, the first semester of sophomore year, I took astronomy. And everything that needed to happen in order for our solar system and our Earth to be created is absolutely mind-boggling. For our Earth and Moon to form at a particular size, at a particular distance away from the Sun, with elements like water, hydrogen, and carbon to be created in the right proportions to sustain life. For billions of years of evolution to create every habitat, every species of animal, and us. The universe is vast and full of empty space, and yet here we are. In the next semester, I took anatomy, and we are without a doubt a whole universe unto ourselves. We have trillions of cells, we have an immensely complex genome and DNA, we have circulatory, nervous, and respiratory systems. We have hundreds of bones and muscles that allow us to have shape and to move. And on top of that, we have our minds, which science cannot fully understand yet. We have capacity to have consciousness, to think, to feel, to speak, and laugh, and love. Hayom Harat Olam. Tonight, the entire universe begins anew. And tonight, each one of us begins anew. Richard Feynman, a physicist and poet, wrote, "I am a universe of atoms, and an atom in the universe." As we consider the enormousness of creation, it is almost impossible to not be overwhelmed with gratitude. What are the odds of each of us existing at all? Well, a question like that is what the internet was made for, so I looked it up. Here's some numbers for you. What are the odds that your biological parents would meet and have children? 1 in 40 million. Yeah. What is the probability for you specifically to be born and not someone else? 1 in 4 quadrillion. And the probability of you existing at all, because you have to account for that 1 in 4 quadrillion for each of your ancestors that also had to be created, going all the way back 4 billion years to that first single-celled organism. Does anyone want to guess? No. Well, it comes out to 1 in 10 to the 2.7 million power. And that's a 10 followed by 2.7 million zeros. It's a mind-boggling number. That's what each person sitting here tonight is a 1 in 10 to the 2.7 million power. The article puts it another way. That's the probability of 2 million people, about the population of San Diego, and each of them rolls a trillion-sided dice. And they all come up with the exact same number. Let's take a moment and really breathe that in. Wow, that's a crazy number. What a gift it is. How incredible it is for us to just be here. What incredible gift it is to be you. Albert Einstein said you can live your life one of two ways, as if nothing is a miracle, or as if everything is a miracle. And with that number, everything is a miracle. As we say in our liturgy, Kol HaNeshama Tehalelia, every single breath that we take is an enormous gift from something larger than ourselves. So when we think about these incredibly minute odds of being alive at all, it really puts things in perspective. It can give us an opportunity to deeply consider, as Mary Oliver asked, what it is you plan to do with this one wild and precious life. The possibilities are limitless because starting tonight, you can be as new as the day you were born. You might be thinking, Rabbi, that's crazy. We have memories and habits and years of experiences that don't just disappear. And that's true, they don't. But with the hard work of teshuvah, we can grow past them. So let me explain. Yogananda teaches growth is the ability to let reality be new in every moment. So growth is an ability. It doesn't happen naturally. It's a conscious choice that we have to make. But what does it mean to let reality be new in every moment? It means becoming aware, just as we became aware a few moments ago of this gift of being alive. We take that awareness and we turn it inward, and we inspect the assumptions we make about ourselves. In his book about Jewish meditation, Rabbi Alan Liu quotes a teaching from an Indian philosopher. Whenever someone asks you a question, even the most shallow question imaginable, such as, what's your favorite color? Or what kind of music do you like? We should train ourselves to respond immediately with the phrase, I don't know. Otherwise, we find ourselves trotting out habitual answers, as I imagine many of us trot out a habitual answer when someone asks what your favorite color is. But we don't consider the way we feel or think in the moment, but the way we felt or thought long ago. And it's true, we creatures of habit like to stick with what's comfortable, whether it be shows, movies, or books, food, relationships, routes on the way to work, or just about everything else. And of course, for this new year, if you want to put something totally new in your Netflix queue, or try Vietnamese or Filipino cuisine, or explore a new part of Columbus, I absolutely encourage that. Because as we all know, risk-taking and moving out of our comfort zone can certainly lead to growth and self-discovery. But we can also take this opportunity on the high holidays to dig a little deeper. What's comfortable are also deeply held beliefs about ourselves, our relationships, and our place in the world. Those beliefs can come from places of habit. They could be there to protect us from the risk of pain, failure, and loss. Sometimes we have deeply held beliefs that we have trouble letting go of, simply because we don't want to be wrong or to hold ourselves accountable. One of these deeply held beliefs that can hold us back from becoming our best selves is the idea that we're not enough in some way. We're not daring enough to wear that outfit, not funny enough to try improv class, not successful enough to start a business. But perhaps worst of all, we sometimes make choices, or we don't make them, because we have deep down convinced ourselves that we're not completely worthy of happiness or love or belonging. Often we are our own worst critics. We are harsh with ourselves, and so we limit ourselves. And I can personally absolutely attest to falling victim to these feelings. They are a rut that are so hard to climb out of. But sometimes the hardest part is recognizing that you're in that rut in the first place, and making that decision to do the hard, uncomfortable work, the teshuvah, of calling yourself out, holding yourself accountable, and working to make that change. This reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in Star Wars. You all knew that was coming. While training on the planet Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back, Yoda tells Luke to go into a cave. When Luke asks what's in the cave, Yoda replies, "Only what you take with you." Upon entering the cave, Luke finds his enemy, Darth Vader, lightsaber in hand. The two fight and Luke defeats Vader, but through Vader's cracked helmet, Luke sees his own face. Luke's greatest enemy was not Vader, but himself, his own fears and insecurities, only what he took with him. Luke had to wrestle with himself in order to overcome them. Sometimes facing a reality that is out of our control can help us face ourselves. Isaac Litsky, a Jewish Cuban American, went blind at the age of 25 from a genetic eye disease. As he says in his TED Talk, "When I was diagnosed with my blinding disease, I knew it would ruin my life. Blindness was a death sentence for my independence. It meant I would live an unremarkable life, small and sad and likely alone. I knew it. This was a fiction born of my fears, but I believed it. It was a lie, but it was my reality. If I had not confronted the reality of my fear, I would have lived it." So how do you live your life eyes wide open, he asks. And he says, it is a learned discipline. It can be taught and practiced. Isaac goes on, hold yourself accountable for every moment, for every thought. See beyond your fears and recognize your assumptions. Silence your internal critic. Correct your misconceptions about luck and about success. Accept your strengths and your weaknesses and understand the difference. Your fears, critics, and villains are your excuses, rationalizations, shortcuts, justifications. They are your surrender. They are fictions you perceive as reality. Choose to see through them and let them go. You are the creator of your reality. With that empowerment comes complete responsibility. Isaac goes on to reveal that taking on that responsibility, in effect doing his teshuvah, gave him a full and blessed life. Far from alone, he shares his life with his wife Dorothy and 4 children, and he lives far from an unremarkable life. He served as a justice clerk for 2 Supreme Court justices, was an actor, and is now a successful CEO running a company in Orlando. As Isaac asks his TED audience, so too do we ask ourselves tonight. What do you fear? What lies do you tell yourself? How do you embellish your truth and write your own fictions? What reality are you creating for yourself? We do not have to go blind like Isaac to see ourselves for who we are, and to do the teshuvah, the hard work of questioning, holding ourselves accountable, and fully realizing the lives we want to make for ourselves. And even if we take these journeys into ourselves, we're not alone on that path. We can also learn about our assumptions and our fears through relationships with others. A trusted friend, a loving partner, or a family member could help be your guide and your support during your teshuvah. This season, I think often of the story of Rabbi Zusia. Rabbi Zusia was a very old man when he once told his students that he was afraid of dying. His students were shocked. "How can you be afraid?" they exclaimed to him. "You are as pious as Abraham, as wise as Moses, as devout in prayer as Hannah. Surely you have a place in the world to come." Rabbi Zusia looked at his students and said, "When I die and approach the Holy Blessed One, the Eternal will not ask me, 'Why were you not more pious like Abraham? Why were you not more wise like Moses or more devout like Hannah?' No, God will say, 'Zusia, why were you not more like Zusia?'" So don't forget, you are 1 in 10 with 2.7 million zeros after it, and there is no one else like you. As Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Our lives are a gift beyond measure, and we cannot waste one single second of it encumbered by fears, insecurities, and mistruths. May these high holidays inspire and challenge us to truly return to the land of our soul and become more like ourselves and bring that back out into our very deeply broken world. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. Awesome. So good.